Coming back into downward facing dog. So coming back from downward facing dog, work to pedal those feet back and forth. And then we'll take the feet nice and wide, bend the knees, and slowly walk your hands back so that your belly comes to the thighs. Keeping the knees bent, just begin to sway from side to side. So the toes might ankle out just a little bit, whatever feels comfortable. Then make sure your head is relaxed, hanging heavy, shoulders roll down. You can hold opposite elbows here to kind of increase that drawing downwards of the upper body. And then we'll slowly begin to lift and lengthen. Knees can stay as bent as you need them to here, but walk your hands out a little bit so that the hands are underneath the shoulders. And just work to pedal the feet. And so one leg doesn't have to straighten all the way, just kind of pedal it out. You know, spread the toes, root down through the feet. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to bend the left knee and slowly start to take the right arm up. So whether or not you straighten this right leg is up to you. Work to circle that right arm. So we're going to open it up, press that right hip back, and then do 2 more circles here. Inhale and exhale. Gaze can, stay down if you need it for balance. And then taking it back down, pedal it out once or twice. And then we'll bend deeply into that right knee, taking the left arm up, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, and exhaling. Really reach that left hip back and look up, and then bringing it back down. So we're going to bend both knees, round slowly all the way up until we get to a standing position, and we'll inhale, lift your arms up, and exhale, draw the hands down by your side. So my head is being cut off. Hold on one second. Maybe that'll help. Good, so, okay. Let's take the arms up, inhale, exhale, slow hinge forward, flat back, fold forward. Inhaling, bring your hands to shins, come to a flat back. Exhale and fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, big breath in. Exhale, palms touch heart center. We're going to work to the top of the mat. Bring our toes and heels together. Bring your hands to heart center. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. Arms reach up. And then slowly inch forward, exhale. Fold forward. On a breath in, lengthen enough. Bring your hands to the floor. Step your right foot back. Working into a runner's lunge. Lowering the hips down toward the floor. Make sure the left knee is over the ankle and you're pressing that right hip back, or heel back. Crown of the head reaching away from that right heel. Bring the right hand to the floor. We're going to stretch that left arm open, turn the palm away, open up into a twist. Looking up toward the hand. Really press your right hand in to lift that left hand higher. And then on the exhale, bring the hand back down to the floor. Step your left foot back, move into a high plank. So drawing the belly in, you're going to press your heels back, wrap your inner thighs upward, really work the hands, to be pressing, especially between the index finger, the base of the index finger and the thumb. Crown of the head reaching forward. On the exhale, knees come down, elbows stay in close to the body, chest and chin come down. Inhale, hips come down, roll your shoulders back, lift into a baby cobra. So here I want you to lift your hands. Elbows draw in towards the low back or toward the waist. Press the tops of the feet down. Heart draws forward. Make sure you're not craning the chin forward. Lengthen the back of your neck. One more breath here. And exhale. Forehead drops down momentarily. We're going to curl the toes under. With your elbows tight to the body, draw the belly in. Press up. And then back into downward facing dog. Take another inhale, exhale. Exhale, let go. Now from here, right leg will extend back and up. And on the exhale, right foot between your hands. Runner's lunge, making sure those feet are hip distance. So you're working that right hip back, hugging the left hip kind of up so that you're kind of squaring off the hips here. Root down to the left hand. Slowly take that right arm forward, turn the palm away, and lift it up toward the sky. So you're working that right knee in towards you, lifting up the right ribs, reaching up towards the sky. Just find a fixed gaze if you can, up towards your right thumb. Pause for an inhale. Take the exhale to settle the shoulders onto your back. Inhale here, and then exhale. Hands come back down. Push into the palms. Step back into your high plank. And on the inhale, this time if you'd like, you can shift forward, keeping the elbows tight to the body, 90 degrees with the arms. Let's settle all the way to the mat. And then bring the tops of the feet down. This time, hands sweep down toward the hips, thumbs facing inward. Roll your shoulders back. Reach your fingertips toward the back wall. Lift the feet. Now lift the head, neck, and shoulders. Again, gaze is maybe about to the top of the mat. Squeeze the shoulders back. Squeeze the thumbs toward one another. Inhale, heart draws forward. Take another breath in. And exhale. Slowly come back down. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, or actually your thumbs by the breastbone. Hug the elbows in. Curl your toes from your knees. Press up and then back into down dog. Take another inhale and exhale. And then left leg extends up and back. Take the knee in toward the chest. Step the left foot forward. Right foot will go flat. Kind of take a look back. Outer edge of the foot is parallel to the back edge of the mat so that this right hip starts to open. We're going to slowly windmill our way up and finding our way into warrior two. Settle the shoulders, settle the hips evenly between the feet. Look down past your left knee and see if you can see your big toe. Hands reach forward and back. Look over the left hand and just breathe. It's like you want to imagine your feet are really squeezing down and then there's just hugging up through the center line of the body. Turn the left palm up, reach it up and back. Find a reverse warrior, open this left side waist. And then coming forward, left forearm to the thigh, right palm up and overhead for an extended side angle. Back into warrior two. Straighten that front leg. Walk the back foot in slightly. We're going to tip and reach, keeping the shoulders open. Left hand, just bring it to the shin a moment. Bring your right hand to your shoulder. Take a couple big shoulder rolls, or actually elbow rolls, with that hand on the shoulder, and just feel the heart opening. And then when the elbow reaches toward the sky, reach the hand toward the sky. Maybe as the left hand slides down the leg, you can kind of feel this right ribs are actually shortening just a bit to try to lengthen the left side of the ribs as you look up toward the sky. So if the gaze feels better down, you can do that as well. So really activate this right leg, wrap the right thigh outward. And then using that top arm nice and slowly, come all the way up. Good. Bend that front knee. And we're going to windmill the hands down. So left hand, right hand, drop that right hip, lift the back heel. Press into your hands, step back, high plank. Take an inhale, shift forward or knees, chest, chin. Exhale, lower halfway down or all the way down. Moment to inhale, roll over the toes. If you're coming into upward facing dog, breathe in. Exhale, let the belly draw in and back, downward facing dog. Good breath or two as you are. Good. And we'll slowly take the right leg up and back. Exhale, right foot steps between your hands, lowering the left heel. Looking back, kind of lining up your right heel to your left arch. Slowly start to open up into warrior two to this side. I always have to adjust my clothing in between. Dropping the hips low. Just notice if you're tipping and reaching forward. We want the spine neutral. So it's like crown of the head, heart, tailbone, all in one line directed right between the feet. Shoulders draw down, look past your right hand. So you're always trying to open up the inner thigh. So wrap the legs kind of open and down. And then right palm up, reach up and back and reverse your warrior. Sometimes it's nice to look back at your left toes instead of up. So find your gaze point, sink a little deeper into your front knee if you can. And then hands go parallel, tip and reach, right forearm to the thigh, and reach up and over. One more breath. And then into warrior two, straightening that front leg. Walk the back foot in a little bit. Start to tip and reach. Right hand reaches forward if you have the space. Bring it to the top of the shin in a moment. Left hand to your shoulder. And then take those big shoulder or elbow circles. Just really imagine that you're kind of using the left fingertips to open up the shoulder. At the same time, see if you can draw the belly in and lengthen the tailbone towards your left heel. And then slowly start to take the hand down. Feel this left side shorten a bit, so the outer ribs, kind of the outer hip, shorten that up. Lengthen your right side waist. Left arm reaches high. So if you can lengthen both sides of the neck from ear to shoulder. Straight line from wrist to wrist. Take a couple of breaths here. For some reason, this is the posture that I love to do when I'm in the middle of a hike. For some reason, this seems to like really help kind of alleviate any kind of low back pressure. So if you've been hiking or biking, just try this in the middle of it and see what happens. And then slowly use that top arm, come all the way up. Once again, warrior two, a little wider stance with the legs, and then work to windmill the hands down. Lift that left heel, press into the palms, high plank, draw the belly in, inhale, shift forward or knees touch chin, lower down on the exhale. Inhale, open up the heart, and then exhale, back into down dog. And take a moment with your knees down, take a moment in child's pose, just to kind of recollect your breath. You're kind of just beginning to unpack what we just, or pack up what we just unpacked rather. So whatever you kind of brought out, kind of just reeling it back in a moment, gathering yourself up. And then round our way up, working into that tabletop. And let's take the left leg back, this time dropping our left heel to the floor. Right foot comes behind us just a little bit. Right hand to the floor, left arm can go high. So whenever we're in a side plank situation, this is always a really good option to do. Just making sure your wrist is under your shoulder, your knee is under the hip, and you're really pressing down with that left foot. And then you can start to, lift that left arm high. Gaze can be wherever you want it. So this is a really safe option. If you want to stick with a safe foundation, but you want a little bit of extra, you can lift that top leg, and then work to look up. That's a really good kind of strengthener for left side body. If you want to come down into a full side plank and your shoulder is bothering you, then you just kind of want to come down onto the right forearm, always keeping the elbow under the shoulder. And you can start with your right hip down, just so you make sure you have that right foundation. Flex both feet, start with your hand on your waist, and then lift. See if it's, if it's good for you. That way you don't have far to go. You're not going to fall. Lifting it up, maybe you do little lifts here, up and down. So, active legs. Good. And then if full side plank is where you want to be, outer edges of the feet, press down and then look up. Good. And breathing here. And for full side plank, you want to open up that top hip a little bit. You can reach that left arm forward, or you can challenge yourself by lifting the top leg. Good. So coming out of that, if you've been there too long, take a moment, child's pose, relax, open up the shoulders. Good. And then, taking the other side, because we just did all the modifications on one side, taking them, start to finish on this side. Lining up your left knee now, left hand under the shoulder, right arm high, push that right foot down, look up. Good. Or you can lift that top leg. And, while you're here, you can even do like crunches or whatever. So just for future, like when you're in a class and they say, okay, side plank, drop your heels to the right and do it, you know what your options are. Good. We're taking the full one, or we forgot this one. Taking it here. Good. So it's always good to try each one. 1 week might be, I feel great in this. 1 week you might be like, I'm just going to stay in child's pose and not bother any of this. So, good. Let's take it to down dog. Shake the head out, shake the shoulders, or roll the shoulders. And then slowly take your right leg up toward the sky. We're going to open the right hip, lift the outer edge of the foot really high, bend the knee. And so your modification for this would be to be on your knees, bring the left elbow down, bring the right fingertips tented to the outside of your mat, and then you have a little bit of a more supported variation. But from whatever variation you're doing, I'm going to open up that hip. Good. And then we're going to stretch that leg straight back and up. If you're in that forearm version, you want to come up onto your hands. We're going to take your right foot forward. This time our left heel will drop down, but before you do anything, you want to turn the toes toward the upper left corner of the mat, so they're at like a 45-degree angle. We can start with our heels lined up, or you can step the right foot more toward the outer edge of your mat. Bring your right hip back, right knee is over the ankle. And we're going to come into Warrior One. This time our hips are square toward the front edge of the mat. Bend your right knee over the ankle and drive your left heel down. Hips are square, tailbone draws down, navel draws up, ribs float, shoulders draw back. We can kind of start by bringing your hands forward. Notice if you're reaching, hug your shoulders back, tailbone draws down, and then arms reach high. Shoulders away from the ears. And then notice, what can you do kind of muscularly in the legs to squeeze that right hip back and the left hip forward? And then the grip of the toes is always the last thing to go, so relax the toes. And then we'll reach the hands back behind the low back. If you can, interlace, or you can grab opposite elbows. Take one more lift high. And then as you exhale, release your hands and bring both hands, interlace them over your right leg. Step your back foot in a little bit. Squeeze your right hip back. And then just begin to kind of straighten and bend that right leg. And notice where the weight is. So you're going to draw the heart forward, the crown of the head forward. As you draw a little bit more length into that right leg, you don't have to straighten the right leg. Think about right hip pressing back. Think about ribs moving away from the hips, crown of the head reaching forward. If you can straighten the leg, it's a shorter stance than Warrior Two. The feet should be about 3 feet apart here. You can walk your hands down to your shins, or the hands can come down toward the floor. So pyramid pose is better to go in slowly than to start with your hands on the floor and then try to straighten the leg. So work to inhale, lengthen, hug that right hip back. Belly should come to the thigh first, then the ribs, good, then the chin, then maybe forehead. But we want to kind of more concentrate on the crown of the head moving away from that right hip. Bring a little more weight into the right foot. So feel how that pivots the hips to shift weight forward and back. And then to come out of it, come out the same way you went in. So lengthen up, bend your right knee, hands come to your front knee, slowly lift up, hands to your waist. We're going to step that left foot forward. So just notice the difference between that right side and left side. So with your feet underneath the hips, just take a moment to roll that right knee out to the side. So we're going to lift it about the height of your hip, flex the foot, bring the knee out to the side, and then start to bring it behind you, but don't lean forward. Keep the heart open, maybe hands to your heart center, and then drop the foot, the right foot behind the left, bend both knees. Try to bring the right heel all the way down. Left hand on your waist, right arm reaches up and over. So you're opening that right hip. Good. And then back in the center. Bring your hands to your heart. Shift the weight into your left foot. Lean forward just a little bit. Lift, bend your right knee. Bring the right foot off the floor. Bring the right knee way out to the side. Bring it forward and then set it down. Good. And with your toes and heels together, inhale, lift up. Exhale, fold forward. Lengthen up on your inhale. Bend your knees. Step your right foot back and then drop your right heel. So Warrior Two on this side. So it's not as long as a stance as a runner's lunge. You're not just opening up runner's lunge and lifting up, because otherwise you'd be open. You want the stance to be shorter, your feet to be a little wider, right toes point forward. Engage the muscles of your right leg before even coming up. So left hip draws back. Good. And then kind of set yourself up for Warrior One on this side. So you can come all the way up, hips square, belly in, create that, downward flow of energy down through the tailbone, upward flow of energy with the crown of the head, eventually arms reach up. Good. So bend and straighten that right leg enough so that you're not lifting the back heel. And I can really feel how I haven't been practicing this enough, because it's taking a lot of fussiness to get into it. So just work with what you've got. Breathe here. And then we're going to lean forward. Interlace your fingers, maybe in an unfamiliar way. Take another moment to inhale, open the heart. And then as you exhale, lean forward, take your hands, interlace them above your left knee. Bring your right foot in just a little bit, and then work to draw that left hip back as you straighten that left leg a little bit. So just kind of opening up that left hamstring, shift forward, shift back. And then as you're ready to, that leg will straighten a little bit more. Hands might come to the shin, or hands come down to the floor. So you're just working to draw the crown of the head forward as you press your left hip back. Take every moment to lengthen that you can here. So every inhale, get a little more space, a little more length in the spine. And as you exhale, that slow hinge. Take a breath or two in pyramid pose. You know, remembering to shift the weight from foot to foot. What happens in the hips when you shift the weight forward and back? And then on the next inhale, lift and lengthen, bend your left knee, hands come to that front knee, slowly support yourself to come up and step your right foot forward. Good. Once again, shifting the weight evenly between the feet. You're going to lift that left knee, hands can be at your heart, flex the foot, and with a softened right knee, so you're really kind of bouncing into that knee. Try not to lean forward or back. Bring the knee out to the side. Find that one focal point so you can do that. Start to bring the knee back. Lift it up, bending into both knees. Take the left knee behind the right. Bring the ball of the foot down. Now shift the weight slightly back so the weight is in your left heel. Right hand to your waist. Left arm opens up. So you're kind of pressing your right hand into your right hip to send your left hip open. And then as you come to center, hands return to your heart. Weight shifts into the right foot. Lift your left heel. Keep it bent as it comes all the way out to the side, out in front, and then comes back down. Good. Taking a moment just to bring your hands wide, feet wide, toes turned out, and just rock your arms from side to side. Let your breath go. Make sure you're lifting one heel as you come over to the side so you're not tweaking your knees. Good. And then with your hands to your heart, feet together, bend your knees, lift your arms. Good. Come into chair pose. As you sink the hips low, your toes should be kind of lifted, your hips come down. Take a moment or two of breath, feeling the legs active. Good. And then with your hands to your heart, take a breath, taking your left elbow across your right knee, pressing the hands together, and then lifting the heart toward the thumb. So the right shoulder opens up, sinking the weight evenly back. Knees should line up here. Good. Hips are below the heart. Head is above the heart. And then on the inhale, shift forward, inhale. Exhale, hands to heart, twist to other side. Breath in as you expand open, shoulders away from the ears, weights in the heels. Looking up beyond that left elbow. And as you come to center, inhale. Exhale, slow hinge forward. Hips high, head low. Halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale, rise tall. Exhale, hands to your heart. So we're going to open the hips a little bit here. So feet are maybe hip width apart. We're just going to bring the weight into your left foot. So we're going to lift this right leg, flexing the right foot. Bring the outer edge of the ankle right above your left knee. Make sure it's not like pushing the kneecap down. And just take a moment to really soften into this left leg. Hips are even. Now the weight's going to come back into that left heel. You're going to sink the hips back. So maybe even hands to your hip creases, like push them back, you know, taking all the weight in the left heel. You're going to press down with that right hand into that right leg. Good. Or your hands can stay at your heart. You can continue the journey a little bit lower, but you want to find a stretch in this outer, right hip, right? So keeping this right foot flex is really important. Draw the hips back. Good. And then we'll slowly begin to come up. Foot comes down. Hands high, inhale, exhale. Hands to heart center. So there's always another side to do. See if we do a little bit better on the other side. Weight comes into the right foot. Taking that left knee high, flex the foot above the knee. so that when we bring the right knee forward, the hips are, sinking back. Good. Pressing that, left knee down toward the floor. Heart stays high, shoulders draw back and active. There's a subtle curl of the tailbone, but we want to be able to stick the hips way back. Notice where the wobbles are. Thumbs lift the heart, squeeze the shoulder blades, press that left knee down. And then we'll slowly inhale, lift that knee, feet come down, and exhale, hands to heart center. So we'll take a little turn on the mat so we can step nice and wide apart with the legs, toes turned out. So right away we're opening up the hips. So we're going to start to sink the knees down and up. So we want to be able to, again, see the toes beyond the insides of our knees. We also don't want to be collapsing into the inner arches. So we want to lift the toes a moment just to really feel that we're rooting into the outer perimeter of the feet. So as you sink down, knees are over the ankles. Good. So press the knees back, maybe with the backs of your hands. Press those knees back. Now draw the navel in, curl the tailbone a little bit, sink a little bit lower, heart stays open, and then hands to your heart. Sink low, low, low to the legs. Good. One more breath in, a little bit lower. And then we'll inhale, lift up. Good. We're going to exhale, come back down, but this time hands come to the insides of the legs, sinking back and forth. We're going to press the hands down and away, like fingertips go in the same direction as the knees. We're going to smoothing it down till arms go straight. So you should feel this like a little bit of hang time here. We're going to start to dip that left shoulder down as you roll the right shoulder open. Good. Look beyond that right knee. Inhale, come center. Exhale, twist. Inhale to center. Hands to your heart, sink low. And then inhale, come all the way up. Exhaling, hands to your heart. Turn the toes in. Bring them a little bit closer, or a little more inward than the heels, so they're a little pigeon-toed. Lift up through your thighs. Shoulders roll back. Inhale here. Exhale. Start to tip forward. Bring your hands under the shoulders. So notice where the weight is. Usually when we fold, all the weight's at our heels and we almost feel like we can tip backwards. Walk them forward so that you can really feel you're driving the heels down. Toes lift. Thighs lift. Now walk your hands way out in front. Come to the fingertips, let the head drop down. So it's like a wide-legged forward fold, more of like in a down dog. So you're going to press the hips back, relax the head. And so nice long spines here. Not worrying here if we're bringing the crown of the head down toward the floor. We're just elongating, tailbone to crown of the head. And then with our hands under the shoulders, let's take a twist open once to the right. And then once to the left, and then once to center. And then with soft knees, we're going to roll up really slowly. Lift our arms high. Exhale, bring our hands down. And working from the top of the mat, we're going to take the arms up. Exhale, slow descent down, forward fold. And on the lengthening inhale, we'll open up halfway. Hands to the mat, bend your knees, step back right and left into down dog. And with the right leg high, actually let's take left leg high. And since we didn't do it on the other side, start to open the hip and bend the knee. So you remember your options of right elbow down, then taking your hip opener there. And then squaring off, bring yourself to table. This time our left knee comes toward our left wrist. Bring the shin all the way to the floor. So now we're resting our left knee down. Bring the knee right toward the left wrist. Now the right or left toes come over toward the right side of the mat. But notice if you're starting to drop over toward the left side, you're going to drop your right hip down. So turn your right thigh down toward the floor. Rest your right knee down. So we're going to uncurl the toes. And if this is comfortable for you, you can stay here. If you feel the need to drop that left hip, you can do so, but just bend the back knee as well. And you can kind of take your belly over the inside of your left thigh for a nice kind of hip opener here. The other option is to obviously come to your back. Well, not obviously, but another option is to come to your back in figure four, kind of like what we did in our chair pose when we were standing. We're taking a couple moments here just in our pigeon to open up that hip. And pigeon's also a nice time to kind of slow the heart rate down and just kind of really get into those longer, deeper holds with the larger muscle groups. So we need a little more time in these postures. And notice where the kind of sensation moves as you breathe. So if you take a nice deep breath here, what happens if you exhale and let go and try to relax one more muscle group? So more kind of focused attention on how relaxing the body can actually be more beneficial than effort. And then if you're on your backs, go ahead and kind of rock your legs from side to side. We're just going to come to the other side. So transitioning to left side. So you're going to walk your hands back, curl your back toes under, push into the hands, lift up, send yourself back. Maybe again, three-legged dog, or you can just kind of pedal at your feet. We'll work to bring the right knee, the right knee toward the right wrist. Working that left thigh down, working the hips back. Taking a moment to just kind of feel your shoulders square, feel your hips square. So maybe pigeon didn't work on one side, but it works on this side. It's obviously fine to do something different on either side as long as it feels safe and comfortable. So keep yourself supported. If you find yourself on your elbows and you're like letting your head collapse, maybe you can take your elbows a little wider. Maybe that allows you to kind of relax a little bit. It's also nice to maybe stack two fists, one on top of the other, to rest your head. So it's important to rest your head here. You don't want to be like spending the time, you're supposed to be relaxing by, working to hold something up. So what more can you kind of relax? Can you relax your shoulders, your jaw, your feet, your toes, your hands, whatever it takes. Breath in and exhale. The stretch really begins to kind of, if you visualize where the stretch is, or if you bring like a color to it, or just something that brings something a little more, more visual to the stretch that you're doing. Can you breathe here and just feel how the stretch is changing with your breath and with those subtle movements and adjustments. And then as you slowly come onto your hands, this time, we're going to come down to sit. So rock to the right, swing that back leg around. And we'll take us just a second or two just to shake the legs out. And we're bringing that left leg in, just preparing for a nice twist before we come down onto our backs. That leg can come in. You can move into a twist just from here, or the foot can come up and over and across, or you can bring that right foot in so the heel is right outside the sit bones, but you don't want to be sitting on the heel. You don't want this left sit bone to be lifted. You want to press it to the floor. Crown of the head lifts and twist. Just look back behind you. Your elbow can come inside if that doesn't bring any kind of stress to the posture. Support yourself with the back hand so you can kind of lift up through the low back. And then as you look forward, releasing the legs and taking the other side. So same variation on either side, or if one side feels good in one way and then the other. Just want to make sure we're kind of plugging those sit bones down and in, lifting up on your inhale, and as you exhale, kind of coming into that twist. And then looking forward, coming out of the twist slowly. Unwinding the legs, and give yourself some space behind you to slowly come down. So you're going to bring your hands behind your knees. Let's take a second to open the heart, and then as you exhale, and come down. Let's come down on a count of 10. So we're going to really root down, reach forward as if you were holding on to something and you don't want to let go, but something's drawing your middle back back. So we're going to curl the tailbone. Keep curling lower for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So that nice descent down should make your spine feel like it's in full contact. Let the knees draw in toward your chest. Start to rock from side to side. And letting the low back release. Holding onto this right leg, extend your left leg high, flex the foot, and then send the leg nice and long. Work to straighten that right leg a little bit. Maybe the hands come to the back of the leg. Work the leg into your body. Just make sure you're not forcing or curling the upper body up. You want your shoulders relaxed. And then we're going to slowly rebend that right knee, draw it in. Left knee slides in. Holding on to that left knee, right leg high. Slowly extend it nice and long. And then hands come to the back of that left leg. Flex the foot. And bring it in. Walk the hands up the back of the leg. Relax the arms, relax the shoulders. And then we'll walk the hands back down the leg to bend the knee. Bring the knees in, and this time both feet go up toward the sky. Bring the legs a little bit wider. Now draw the knees down toward the shoulders. Kind of work space up for the ribs in between the thighs. Now walk the hands up toward the elbows, walk the hands up toward the ankles. Start to rock from side to side. Keep drawing the knees down as the heels go high. Maybe you hold opposite or outside edges of the feet. Draw the legs down, bring the tailbone down, rock from side to side, and happy baby. And then we'll bring the soles of the feet together. We'll slowly let the soles of the feet come down, maybe butterfly the legs up and down a few times. So soles of the feet are together, knees wide. Bring one hand to your belly, one hand to your heart. Taking a moment of gratitude for this practice. Gratitude for your body, what you've been able to do today, and whatever you're able to do later on in your day. Feeling free to stay as you are and taking a few moments for yourself in Shavasana. So it's important to have a few moments of stillness at the end of your practice, just to really let all of those postures settle within the body, and then you're able to kind of settle your reactive mind to the practice a little bit. So if you're just laying still, continue to take deep breaths and let the body completely relax. Let the reactive mind, the reactive body kind of dull itself a little bit, blur the outer edges of the body, the outline of the body, and let yourself just kind of absorb all the benefits of this practice, all the deep breathing, all the kind of mindful movements. And then how can you expand this practice off of the mat? Can you bring all the sensations of, I'm reacting to this, or I am, this is happening to me. So that reactive mind, that kind of give and take that we find off of our mat, we confront it here on the mat. So that's how kind of yoga helps you off the mat to deal with times of stress. It helps you realize that there is a calm to the effort. There's a yin to every yang, so to speak. So hopefully you're able to find a moment of relaxation. If you need to hit that pause button and just mute me and take your Shavasana, take a Shavasana. Otherwise, it's been my pleasure to be here with you, and I hope you're all well and healthy, and my hope is that we'll see each other again very soon. Namaste.